welcome back to the Shutter Sports Refresh, the show that breaks down all the biggest news in sports from the past week. I'm your host, Lucky Roberts, and let's get right into it. We'll start as per usual with some basketball news. It's the NBA Finals, and the OKC Thunder and the Indiana Pacers are facing off. We left off last week with the series tied at 1 game each, and now that score has increased to 2-2 with the game just happening in a couple of minutes here. Here's a quick breakdown of what happened. In Game 3, the late game was dominated by the Pacers, who outscored the Thunder 32-18 in the fourth quarter. They ended up taking the win, especially thanks to some crazy performances from their bench players, Bennedict Mathurin and TJ McConnell. In Game 4, it was the Thunder who came alive in the fourth quarter, taking a close game to tie the series back up at 2-2. Then, finally, in Game 5, it's going to be so important for whoever dominates that fourth quarter. This has been one of the most exciting NBA Finals in a very long time, mostly in thanks to the underdog Pacers proving everybody wrong and make it to the Finals as just a 4 seed. Game 6 goes down Thursday, so make sure to tune in whoever can win the championship. Let's stick to the topic of basketball and move on to the WNBA season, which started a few weeks ago. Each team has played around 10 games so far, and right now the best teams in the league are the exact same as last year, the Minnesota Lynx and the New York Liberty. These two teams met in the NBA Finals last year, and for the most part, both have the exact same roster as last year. They're both looking dominant again. It would be amazing to see a rivalry brewing between these two teams as they end up facing each other in the finals once again. Some cool WA news is that the number 1 pick this year, Paige Bueckers, has been playing super well in her rookie season for the Dallas Wings. Their team has an unfortunate record of just 1-11, but Bueckers is averaging 17 points per game with some impressive numbers for her first year. Seems like it's going to be another great season for the WNBA. Let's move on now to see how the other final series is going on, the Stanley Cup Finals in the NHL. We left you last week with the series between the Florida Panthers and the Edmonton Oilers tied at 1-1. So here's what happened since. Game 3 was a blowout in a series, the first one of the series. Games 1 and 2 were overtime and double overtime games, respectively, so it was honestly a surprise when the Panthers took home a dominant 6-1 win. But the Oilers bounced back in Game 4 with yet another overtime win. The game was won by a sneaky shot by Leon Draisaitl, tying the series back up at 2-2. In Game 5, though, it went back to Panthers' dominance. They took the game 5-2 thanks to 2 goals from Brad Marchand. Sam Bennett also scored one in this game, adding to his ridiculous playoff run. Bennett leads the league in playoff goals this year with a whopping 15 in just 22 games. On a ridiculous run that very well may lead the Panthers to their second championship in a row. Game 6 is on tomorrow night, so tune back into the refresh next week to see how the Panthers got it done. Next up, let's give a little update on the MLB regular season is going. Each team has played around 70 games, and the top team so far has been the Detroit Tigers. What a turnaround for Detroit sports. If you remember, they finished last year on a crazy 31-13 run to squeeze into the playoffs, and they've stayed on fire ever since. They have the best winning percentage in the MLB this year with a 63% winning percentage. As the season is coming up on its halfway point, let's see if the Tigers can stay as the best team record-wise in the league, or if the competitors like the Yankees or the Mets of New York, or even the LA Dodgers can overtake them. For our next piece of news, the Canadian Grand Prix in F1 went down yesterday in Montreal. The winner was George Russell of Mercedes in his 4th Grand Prix win ever. Second place was Max Verstappen of Red Bull, and third was the relatively unknown A.K. Antonelli of Mercedes. It's the Italians' first ever time making a podium this year, and it was a massive performance for Mercedes as a team. They've moved now into seconds in the constructors' standing, just behind McLaren, who's been dominant this year. The leader of the driver's standings is Oscar Piastri of McLaren, but Russell is now in 4th place thanks to this win. The next F1 race is the Austrian Grand Prix on June 29th, so be sure to come back to the refresh to see what happened. And for our last piece of news today, the US Open finished up in golf over the weekend. The winner was American JJ Spaun, who shot a total of 1 under, which isn't super impressive. In second place was Scottish Robert McIntyre, and in third was Norwegian Victor Hovland. As for Spaun, this was his first ever win of a major tournament, so congratulations to him on this fantastic achievement. And that's it for this week's episode of the Shutter Sports Refresh. I've been your host, Lucky Roberts, and I hope you learned something today. You can check me, Shutter Sports Media, and the writer of this episode, Finn Noel, on Instagram right here. Make sure to come back next week for more sports news. Thanks for watching.